Okay, so whenever you're bonding covalently, you'll have two elements that are both the same. Like chlorine and chlorine are two non-metals. So they're on the same side of that stair step on your periodic table. So this means that they're going to share electrons. So the way that this works is you have Cl. Now chlorine has 7 valence electrons. You still add them in the up-down side-side pattern. Just like this. Then, the way that this works is electrons are in pairs. They like to have a buddy. Now, all of those that I just highlighted are already in pairs, but you have one single one on each chlorine. These will be looped together to show that they're bonding. Now remember, every loop is a line. So we looped once, so we draw one line in between each chlorine. And then you transfer over those extra dots. Just like this. Now, this is the simplified version of the bonding up here. So both of these are still technically bonding. Then you have to write the formula. Now we used chlorine, which is Cl, and we used 2 different chlorine atoms. So here's one chlorine atom, here's another chlorine atom. So it's Cl2. Now, since they actually shared electrons right here, nothing was given away or taken, so you will not have a charge. Now the next example, oxygen and oxygen. Again, both are nonmetals. Whenever you combine a nonmetal and a nonmetal, you share their electrons. So you have oxygen, one. It has 6 valence. Another oxygen. Again, 6 valence. Now, oxygen has 2 electrons that can be paired. So we can loop these 2 together, and these 2 get looped together. And that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons for that oxygen. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the other oxygen as well. Now remember, every loop is a line. So we looped twice, 1, 2, so that means we're going to have 2 lines here. And again, you transfer over those extra little electrons that were already paired. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for that oxygen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they both have 8. Then for the formula, you'll write an oxygen, and we used 2 different oxygens, so it's O2, which is oxygen gas. The next one, carbon and oxygen. Carbon is again a nonmetal. Oxygen is a nonmetal. So whenever you write out carbon, carbon has 4 valence. Oxygen, again, has 6 valence. Now, carbon has 4 bonding electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 4 by themselves. Oxygen has 2 bonding electrons. These 2 that are by themselves. So what we're going to do here is we're going to bond those 2 together. And then we can bond these 2 together. So that will give oxygen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So oxygen is happy. But carbon is not happy. It still has 2 electrons over here that need to go somewhere. So what we do then is you add in another oxygen. Since carbon's already bonded with 1 oxygen, it'll bond again with a second oxygen. And it's going to get a little messy, and that's okay. So, at this point, you have 2 oxygens and 1 carbon. And so what you have is between this oxygen and this carbon, you have bonded twice. Now you work. Okay. So between this carbon and this oxygen, you have bonded twice. 1, 2. So that means there's going to be 2 lines right here. And then again, you can transfer over those extra little electrons that are already paired. Then between this carbon again and this oxygen, you've bonded twice. So remember, every loop is a line. So that'll be 1, 2 lines. You transfer over these little extra electrons that are there. Now, we write the formula. We have a C. We used 1 carbon. And we used an oxygen. Now, we used 2 different oxygens, so that'd be CO2, which is carbon dioxide. Then, finally, over here, you have carbon. Again, another nonmetal. And hydrogen, a nonmetal. Now, hydrogen is on the metal side, but it is the only nonmetal over there. So we have carbon. 4 bonding electrons. Hydrogen has only 1 bonding electron, or valence electron. So that means carbon needs to make 4 pairs. Hydrogen can only make 1, so we're going to pair up these 2. And now since carbon and hydrogen have already bonded, we need 3 more hydrogens to pair up with the extra bonding electrons of carbon. So you're going to draw in another one. You can loop these together. Draw in a third. And then finally, a fourth. So the condensed version of this, you see how you have 4, 1 on each side? We're going to draw 4 lines, 1 on each side, and a hydrogen to those lines. So that way carbon still has its 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like it likes. This will be C1, since we only had 1 carbon here. H4, since we have 4 hydrogens. This is methane gas. And that is how you covalently bond atoms.